What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. If you're like me, you're not looking for a guarantee. You're looking for more out of life. It's time we get right. If this is your first time listening to the show, welcome. If you've listened to any of these episodes before, I ask that you bring some people along with you so we can grow this community, so we can go from struggle to flow together. Also, if you get a chance, please leave a 5-star rating on any of the podcast platforms that you listen to your shows on. On Apple Podcasts, that's just right below all the episodes as soon as you click on the show. Let's get started. In marketing, a call to action is meant to get you to take some desirable action at the end of an ad or some bit of content. Buttons like learn more, click here, buy now, subscribe, like, comment. These are all forms of call to action. They pair it with urgency. Get it now, you only have an hour to take advantage of this offer. Scarcity, there's only 5 seats available. And other tactics to make the call to action stronger. As an advertiser, as somebody actually delivering you that piece of content or the ad, it's actually how you measure the success of your campaigns, the success of your efforts. How many people actually converted to taking the action that you're calling them to? The reason is because taking the called action is the next way to go further on the path to solving, addressing, or accomplishing the task at hand, what goal you had. So on the end of the advertiser, success is measured by how many people took the action that they called them to. Because then you can be grouped in with people who are in the next stage of the journey that they need to solve for, the next product they need to show you. They understand by the actions that you take how much knowledge you have and where you are in your buyer's journey. And for you, as the person or the consumer who is actually taking the action, advised by the advertiser, called by the advertiser, you measure your success by actually ending up or not ending up closer to the goal by having taken that set action. Did clicking learning more or learn more, download now, subscribing, did it actually get you closer to the goal you had in mind? Did it answer the question you were looking for? Does that piece of the puzzle actually solve for what you needed to answer next? Having a match of those two would further you along the path of your journey to either purchasing or signing up for something or becoming a customer. Now, with my psyche bent towards looking for the deep meaning in things, I couldn't help but think of this idea on a grander scale, where the advertiser is the universe and the forces of life and the circumstances around you calling you to action, and you being the one that's being called. I kept thinking of the path that we are on, the desired goals we identify for ourselves, and how along the way there comes hints, indications, and downright in-our-face advertising from the universe to take specific actions to further us along the path to accomplish our goals. A lot of people have a negative connotation with advertising, with marketing, with sales. But as a salesperson my entire life, and as a salesperson who had a conscience and needed to stand behind what he sold, I have been the beneficiary of being there with many clients who ended up in a better place after having purchased my product or service. This is where I differentiate customer and client. To me, a customer is someone who purchases something from you and you're only concerned with the transaction. A client is someone under your protection, under your care. And I have personally witnessed that if I didn't get over my own limiting beliefs about selling, the negative connotation that I had, that I could have deprived someone, my clients, from accomplishing their goal. How the actual sale and them purchasing it and taking action resulted in the pivotal change in their life. How lives are actually changed by sales. More precisely, how life is changed once the client agrees to take action and the sale happens. The deeper meaning for me here is that an action is required to be taken for transformation to happen, for life to change on both ends. And I'm proposing that the universe, the forces all around us, whatever you want to call it, are egging us on and selling us with the parameters or even the limitations of our given circumstances. They're egging us on to take an action, to participate in the pending change, to learn more, to subscribe, to like, to comment on what we care about, what we see. And I know I'm being a bit geeky about marketing and self-development here, but I can't help but see these connections, and I'm just fascinated to share them with you. There are plenty of things that we do in life, situations that we set up, or situations that we find ourselves in that make us who we are. Many people cite finding out that their wife is pregnant or having a kid, buying a house, to taking a hard look in the mirror and getting serious about life. They cite those occurrences to them taking a hard look at themselves. Many talk about inflection points where life had to meet near death for them to awaken to the fragile reality and to take on a firm commitment to change their behaviors from there on out. These are moments in time that define us. Moments when we are being called to action, and then we act, we show up, and we commit to addressing and amending any deficiencies that stand in the way of acting and matching the requirements that are called for. We take action. And of course, I've had my own share of inflection points, near-death experiences, places where very few people come back from. It's a miracle that I'm even here right now. But for me, that illumination from the calling in those moments hasn't lasted. It hasn't stood the test of time against the resistance of my poor habits or my indulgences. And because up until now, I haven't been called in a way that altered my life permanently, like having a child, something you can't go back from, I'd venture to say that I have escaped a sustained call for action. That the universe hasn't demanded for me to be more. And therefore, I have stayed as less. And as scary as those moments are, and the circumstances they set up, and the permanence they bring in their power to alter your entire framework of your entire life, I dare to say that my existence is regretfully more insignificant because of a lack of those callings. And now, at 33 years old, soon to be 34, as much as I want to remain in the comfort of my not being called, of not being fully tested, I am in a position where the universe is finally calling me to action. And no, it's not because I'm having a kid. You see, the culture I come from, you take care of your parents. For contrast, in most Western mentalities, for example, if you listen to Dave Ramsey and you ask him what to do about your mother who can't pay her bills, he'd tell you to worry about you and your own family, your own wife and kids, and that it's your mother's fault that she didn't take care of her retirement. and to not accept any responsibility for her, to not let that burden you. But in the culture I come from, especially because many of us come from poverty, there are people way younger than me who don't even question or doubt that they are responsible for their parents. They look at themselves as a way for their parents to have a better life and take financial responsibility almost immediately as they begin to earn, and without question, especially as they start to age. I was spared this burden up until now. My father was always financially well off, my mother taken care of and never having to think about how the house she lived in was sustained. And just like that, another place in my life where the universe didn't call me to action, to be more. And so I remained less. And now, at this age, not that my father can't provide for himself, but with his health and with him having retired early in his life, he has been more in preservation mode than expansion mode. He had chosen to retire in India, moved back from the States when I was 15 or 16, and it's allowed him to keep his costs low and just keep himself busy with little ventures here and there, real estate, a lot of things that were affected because of the pandemic. And now with his health on a decline, coupled with his preservation thinking, the only way that I see for him to realistically leave India and go back to the States is if I step up and play a part in the next steps. They have a small condo in Florida they own. They don't need me. But my father's health and possibly needing a person to stay with us to attend to him, that place is too small. So we've been in this landlocked position for the past few months, not knowing what the next step is or what to do once my father is a little bit better and can travel. For us to go back would mean we would have to purchase a house, and most likely purchase a house in New York to be closer to one of my sisters. And if you know anything about the cost of living in New York, you can imagine that this expense and my father's preservation mode are not compatible. And it's not that he needs me. His pride and his lifelong competency would never allow for that to be the case. It's not that he needs me. But every time the conversation comes up about going back when my father feels better, and also so I don't find myself trapped in India forever, the conversation ends with us throwing up our hands and not knowing where to go, not having a home base, and without having the financial stability or the risk taking at this age. My family literally can't see a path forward, a next step. And here comes my call to action. The universe is allowing my family to depend on me, blessing me with the calling to help them see a path forward, for me to create a path forward. Or else these days will just pass by without a possible new beginning ahead. And at first, having realized that, wow, I'm going to have to move to a state I don't like, bear costs that I could avoid. At first, like all calls to action, this filled me with fear, filled me with doubt. I'm not prepared. I'm not ready. Oh my God, this means I have to sacrifice the ideas I had for myself. It means I have to let go of the ease and the weightlessness that I feel just being responsible for myself. Then I recognized that the universe was calling me to be more, asking me to step up. And I started to find an inner direction and strength I never knew I had within me. I went from mourning the loss of an imagined future for myself to realizing that I can and will have so much more through becoming what the universe is asking me to become. I won't diminish what I accomplish in life. It instead adds a sense of urgency and enhances the probability that I will realize my vision even more. I realized that this was my call to action. A man who can't take care of his family will never be rich. The sequence of events that led me to even being put in this position are nothing short of a miracle. I wasn't brought here to go back to what I had left for myself to return to. And given my parents' age and the necessity, I've realized, if not now, then when? We don't become something, feel fully prepared, and then in that ready state, sign up for a responsibility or a challenge. We sign up for the responsibility, the challenge, and then we become something. Then we prepare and meet every day in that state of ready and becoming. I put off having kids because of this misunderstanding. I thought once I'm financially ready and mentally ready, when I'm able to support them in every way, that's when I'll have them. And that's not how you have durable kids. They can be there while you grow and come out of hardship together with them. As long as you take the responsibility of having children with seriousness, so you don't unconsciously pass down all your traumas, you are never ready for the next level. If you were ready, you would be at the next level already. The next level requires you to reach, to leave where you are. You can't steal second base and keep your foot on first. There's a time in which you are suspended in air, neither here or there, and have faith to carry you forward. When you are in stride, when you are moving towards something, there is a time where only faith is carrying you forward. As long as you answer your call to action. And I can't help but wonder what else I've not become because of the calls to action I've ignored or put off. How much more I could be today? How much better of a life could I have already given my family? I thank the universe. I'm grateful for its call. I'm grateful for the urgency it comes with. Blessed for the scarcity of our existence. Because without it, we would never transform. We would have no reason to move, no reason to change. I love you, family. Listen to the calls.